you just put on top of the bag?
Yeah, we're good. We're good to go.
We're recording?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to read basically the thing that you guys just signed, just to kind of get us on the same page. It says, "Thank you for agreeing to participate in our focus group. We are students currently enrolled in a strategic communication research course at Kansas State University. As part of our research project for this class, we are looking at understanding the best methods in which to create awareness of Riot Games amongst millennials via Twitter. This focus group will last about 50 minutes. During the focus group, you will be asked questions about Twitter, Riot Games, and their relationship in relation to their target audiences. Your answers will be recorded. We will be videotaping today's focus group. Your name and identity will not appear on any report that comes out of this project. We will use a number to represent you in the final report. There's no compensations for participating in this research. Your participation in this research is completely voluntary. You have the right to withdraw from the study at any time. If you guys need to go to the restroom, whatever, just let me know, or if you want more pizza, just grab it. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started. There's no order that you guys can talk, you can just go ahead and kind of spit things out, because I'm not having to take notes, which is great. So, assuming you all have Twitter accounts, what were the driving forces that made you create a Twitter account?
Peer pressure.
Could you elaborate a little bit?
More people were getting on Twitter, so I thought, might as well.
Okay.
I mean, that should translate to a lot of social media. I don't think anybody got Facebook just because they wanted to. It was because all their friends already had it. So I think the same thing applies to Twitter. So.
Okay.
Yeah, peer pressure. That's like how everybody gets social media nowadays.
Mhm.
Either that or Big Mark will say, hey, use Facebook.
Okay. Do you guys see any other benefits from joining Twitter besides that all your friends are on it?
I guess if you follow celebrities or whatnot that you want to follow, want to know about, that they release some stuff on Twitter that they wouldn't release elsewhere. So
Gotcha.
It's a little less annoying than Facebook comes with people sharing stuff.
yeah.
Okay, what makes it less annoying?
You don't see many of those people posting pictures and stuff on your feed. You have to click on it and stuff, so you can pretty much just walk by with it and just take a look at everything.
Okay, so kind of accessibility or
Yeah.
lack of needing to see everything, I guess?
Yeah, like a
Okay.
feed.
Okay.
I think a lot of people use Facebook as like a cache for all their images and basically their life, whereas Twitter they just send out the text, just text value,
Gotcha.
tweet, so it makes it a little bit less annoying.
All right. Why do you choose to follow any brands on Twitter, assuming that you do, and kind of what those brands are and the reasoning behind it?
Discounts or offers.
Okay.
Discounts or offers are pretty good. One of the main reasons I follow people, it has to do with early notice. Some of the game developers for Shrine and Trine 2 and stuff like that, they released an early access code for Steam where you could play their game early just because you were a Twitter follower. So it was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, you get because I know specifically for certain games you get bonus unlockables for following their Twitter or Facebook account or something like that. I mean, that, and I also follow accounts because their social media team is actually pretty funny.
Oh, okay, cool. What are some examples of them? Not specifically, but kind of how do they show their humor?
They just they know their target audience, right?
Mhm.
So they just try to crack in a joke here and there. They'll reply to really weird
Okay.
really weird accounts that normally people won't reply to. Just like that.
Yeah. Is there anything you dislike about social media, and specifically Twitter?
140 characters.
Oh. Okay.
It's not enough.
Anything to add?
Kind of the annoying, vague thing people put on there.
Okay.
Because
Could you
I'll
elaborate a
second
little bit?
that.
Like those kind of people that put in something vague and people kind of discern what they're talking about. They don't really want to talk about it. They're just kind of an attention whore kind of thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
No, that's all of Twitter in my opinion.
So is that what a subtweet is? Is that?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
It's not directed towards you, but if it's you, it fits the shoe kind of thing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then they beat around the bush because they won't answer directly, hey, I have a problem with this person. They'll just have to let somebody else guess, and then they'll kind of place another And then it'll end up being like 4 or 5 pages of tweets, and yeah, that's.
Like, no one just says, fuck Brent. They're just like, God damn it, that one guy won't do that one thing I told him to do. It's like, who are you talking about? I don't want to talk about it.
That's one way.
I mean, that's
Okay.
true, yeah.
Gotcha. You guys have anything else to elaborate on as far as things you dislike about Twitter?
That right there. That's good.
I got nothing.
You can move on. Okay. How do your, we kind of already touched on this, but I really want to get into this. How do your relationships with your peers affect your experience on Twitter? We can talk about a number of things here. We can talk about kind of like what you said, the subtweet kind of thing, or even.
I was gonna say, like, most of my interactions with Twitter have been, like coworkers posting something or something like that, of that nature, and it's just, like, I don't enjoy Twitter for that reason. so,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I normally don't really tweet or anything like that, but I'll sometimes comment on something.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
I feel like I don't really want to put in there that's kind of pointless. I'd rather put something that has a little value in it rather than just saying, I got out of class today, hooray. I'd rather put in something like, hey, I just got my degree. I'd rather say that.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
Hard to say. I think this is more just I don't want to be that annoying person
Hmm.
who just fills up a Twitter feed with just a bunch of random small tweets in an hour.
You guys have anything to add? How about we switch gears to how about things that you really enjoy about Twitter?
Okay. I really like the hashtags, like
Yeah.
what's,
Yeah.
like I can see like what's trending in like your area and stuff like that.
Yeah, that can be kind of neat, because if you're at an event or something specific happens, you can just click on the hashtag for it and see like what everybody else is saying about it, which can be fun.
Yep.
So when you see a sponsored tweet, how do you react? And those are the ones that kind of, that companies can pay to have them pop up in the middle of your feeds, kind of. What's your initial thoughts when you see those and reactions?
Annoying.
Okay.
See, and I think the opposite. I think that has to do with Twitter trying to make money. So it's the same thing with like Facebook and their sponsored stuff. It isn't super intrusive unless the ad has no place in your feed whatsoever. So
Okay.
what is it? A lot of issues I have are like the super cartoony, like pops off out of the screen and animated.
Mm.
That's when it bugs me. But like if it's just like a quick article, something short and sweet, and then it gives you kind of like a little bit of a background annotation and that you can click on, that's a little more like acceptable in my opinion.
I hate more the fact you can't actually filter that out.
Oh, I see.
Like, it has to show up because they paid for it. You can't just say, no, I won't leave.
So, do you guys have anything to add? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Put you guys off.
Like I was just thinking, like what if it's something like a commercial that you thought was really funny? Like I know during the Super Bowl, like I forgot what one of the commercials was for the Super Bowl, and then they like posted, there was like an ad that
Mhm.
posted, like that's it, yeah.
Huh. Okay. So, do you feel like they missed the mark for you as far as being a target audience for that?
I mean, the target audience wise, they do get it, they do hit the mark. It's just
Okay.
that most of the time I don't really care for it.
Okay. Okay. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I don't particularly mind them, because the same thing, I realize why they're there,
Okay.
and typically they hit the target audience for me pretty well. Like they have a good, they do a good job of like displaying relevant things based on, I'm guessing it's just based on my followers and whatnot,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
following. But so I don't really mind it. It's
Okay.
not. But I don't think I've benefited from it specifically, but it doesn't bother me.
Okay. So, how do you guys feel about Twitter targeting you almost as a consumer to have those ads come up? How do you guys feel about that?
I feel like that's just been in the pipeline for a while now, like
Okay.
just in general, like they're getting more and more precise on when it comes to like our relevant interests, like what our age group is, like stuff like that. I feel like that just comes part of good marketing, like just knowing what your consumer wants and getting there in a timely fashion is pretty pretty useful when it comes to like product placement, I guess, so.
Okay. What do you guys think?
I'd say it's pretty much a norm now.
Okay.
Almost any social media form, even TV too, always panders to a certain person with ads. They kind of just shoot you with a bunch of ads and whatever hits and misses kind of thing.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think it's like a more effective way of doing ads, and it benefits me more whenever they target me specifically, like by
Okay.
checking, you know, like who I'm following and whatnot. Prefer that over just random ads because they don't. Then I'm watching a bunch that don't apply to me at all. I'd rather watch something that at least slightly applies to me, like, or see an ad that slightly applies to me. I'm glad they do.
Okay.
Well, I haven't been on Twitter for a little while, but when it comes to their ads, do they give you the option to say, well, is this relevant to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Do
think
they?
so.
Okay. Because like I know with Facebook and
They'll even
YouTube,
ask if
they do
it,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they'll even ask why
Yeah,
you didn't
but
like it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So as far as sponsored tweets or ads on Twitter, what does it take for them to kind of cut through the clutter of the other ads? Like which we kind of talked about, be like the ones that stand out, but kind of what makes them stand out in comparison to every other sponsored tweet you see?
On Twitter.
Yes, Twitter specifically.
I think because it's just one small tweet, it's like less intrusive, I guess maybe. And I think they can do a really good job of filtering out, or, like narrowing down what type of ad it should be, because it can look just directly at who you're choosing to follow. Whereas if you go to a different social media site like Facebook, you have a bunch of friends and stuff, but how do they really tell what kinds of ads you're wanting to see?
Gotcha.
So I think Twitter does a better job of just narrowing it down. So I rarely see completely irrelevant ads on Twitter.
How do you guys feel about that?
See, for me, it's one of those, like I said earlier, the one thing I disliked about is the super intrusive ads, the ones that like pop up and have animation and stuff like that, but those are also the ones that like get your attention for the longest, I feel, because like
Okay.
you have to like look at it to see what's going on because of what it is, so it's a dislike, but it's good advertising, I
Okay.
guess, so.
So what do you mean by, just to clarify, when you say intrusive, are you saying,
It looks completely different than like, what is it, like, say you're scrolling through your feed on Facebook or something like that, and you have the normal written prompts of your friends and family and stuff like that, and then you come across the ad, and the ad is colored, and it has like, I guess it has its own difference
okay,
to the whole thing, so.
okay. You guys have anything to add about that?
I mean, there are some stuff now on Twitter that where people just constantly try to get all this clickbait kind of ad stuff on their feeds in hopes that someone will actually click on it, and they'll be just swarmed with all these annoying ads.
What do you mean by, what do you call it, clickbait? Is that what you called it?
Yeah, or it's like
Congratulations, you won.
something like that.
Oh,
That's
I
more like,
see.
see this shocking video or photo of someone who died or something that happened.
Okay.
Someone who
Or-
died, and it's just some little kid gets pushed over by a ball or something like it.
It's not even that. It'd be like a gallery kind of thing where you have to go through like 9 pages and stuff just to
Just
see his.
pictures, yeah.
Yeah,
So how does that make you guys feel?
pisses me off.
Why does it make you mad?
Because I'm just sitting there clicking. I'm just like, I just want to see this one thing. That's it, and just nothing but ads all around it. And you,
They're profiteering off the fact that they got you to
yeah.
sit there and look at
They
something
exploited
stupid.
my they've exploited my procrastination of wanting to see this one video.
Yeah.
So do you think that's fair or unfair that they're able to do that? And this is fair play as well.
Both.
I mean, it's,
fair.
yeah, it's fair, but I don't think it's,
It's unfair that they do that, but I mean, I'm the one that fell for it, so my fault.
Interesting. How do you guys feel about that?
I don't, I mean, I don't know, like, whenever I click on one of those, it's just kind of like, I realize, I mean, like, okay, this is one of those, and I just close out of it, and realize that whatever suspense they were building up was probably not relevant in the first place, so I'm not like that put out about it.
So how does that make you look at, as far as trusting things on the internet, how does that relate to that for you guys?
I think whenever something's intentionally vague on the internet, I typically don't trust it, no matter what. But like on my browser, so.
Moving forward, so kind of shifting gears now, and I'm really excited to hear what you guys say about this stuff, but I want to talk about your initial experience with video games. Kind of tell a story for us, if you will. If you don't remember specifics, that's fine, but maybe your initial reactions, thoughts, emotions, all that good stuff.
Do you want to lead us off?
Right when you take a bite of pizza.
Yeah. When I was little, I grew up with the N64. Me and my brothers, we would spend a lot of time playing games and stuff, like Mario Kart and all that, having fun and stuff. As I grew older, I kept playing more games that are a little more in-depth, like Ocarina of Time and stuff. Stuff that made you actually feel like you're in something fun or believable. And as the years kept going, you'd get more new systems, and games looked better, looked more realistic, got more in depth with reality and themes that were actually meaningful. Just grew to love that.
So, just for people like me who don't know a lot about video games, can you explain what the N64 is? That what it is?
Nintendo 64
Okay.
is what is it, the third generation console from Nintendo?
Yeah.
They had the Nintendo Genesis, the Nintendo...
No,
No,
they didn't have Genesis.
the NES,
Okay,
the
the NES,
SNES,
the SNES, the...
64.
Is it the 64?
Yeah, nothing in between.
Yeah.
And what were some of the qualities of that for us who?
It was back in the 1990s,
Okay.
so it was kind of blocky and slow.
It's really innovative for its time.
Yeah, it was,
Okay.
it
So it
was
was
Yeah,
ahead of
it
its
was
time.
kind of the only thing that dominated the market after the SNES and stuff, so... Like for, I want to say a good 6 to 8 years, it was kind of the only thing that was,
Big things is 3D. Like,
Yeah,
did
The
all
3D.
PlayStation came around the same time too.
yeah, the PlayStation, the original came around, and that kind of signified the end, but they still produced a lot of games for it and stuff.
It was the last system we used cartridge-based
Yeah.
games. We just stuck it instead of a disc.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Can I hear a little bit about your experience now?
Mine, I started playing video games when it was with my father. I'm the oldest, so my brothers hadn't quite come along, so I couldn't play like big group games and stuff like that. But my dad really got me into RTSs, which are real-time strategy games. You control like a little army and stuff. And my mom was the super overprotective helicopter parent, so yeah. No, she would only let me play educational video games, so things that had strategy, that had card games, stuff like that. So I was kind of lame in that aspect, but I got really into real-time strategies and stuff like that. And then, what is it, around middle school and stuff like that, I got into like games like Dota and stuff like that, like the original Dota, and yeah, and now there's like Dota 2 out and all that stuff, so like they're still taking my childhood and making it into other games, which is kind of what we're talking about right now. Like,
Okay.
we're supposed to be meeting here for like Riot Games and League of Legends. That's a spin-off of real-time
Okay.
strategies, so.
So, if you don't mind me asking, why was it considered lame to play more strategy-ridden games? growing up?
Because like it limited your pool, like he referenced Ocarina of Time and stuff like that. I don't really have like I didn't have a stake in the storytelling. Like you just like you get like these history-based games and stuff like that, and you just kind of follow the plot line of what happened in history, and you just have to like reinvent these battles and stuff like that. But like with Ocarina of Time, you are playing a character that's running through and getting like this huge story built around them and stuff like that. So like, in my opinion, I felt like it was kind of a lesser of the two,
Oh, I see.
because you didn't get to enjoy the storytelling and all the extra depth you would get with other games. So.
Okay. So would you say those are kind of the two classifications of video games, the kind of more strategic and then more storytelling? Or is
I would
there
say
more
there's
that I'm unaware of?
there's more basis for those two
Okay.
in current games than there is anything else. But I think when it comes to like storytelling, that is its own arc. And then there's like platformers, there's like stuff like that. It doesn't mean that they all have to stick to their genres, but yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank you for sharing. All right, you're next.
Oh boy.
No pressure.
Okay, so this basically is on the story. or something
Yeah,
like that?
just kind of your
Okay.
first encounter with video games, why you kind of enjoy it so much, and what kind of brought you into that world of video games.
So when I was 5, I went to my grandparents' house, and my uncle left a Nintendo Entertainment System in there, and like I started playing it with my dad and my brother and stuff, and I was like, wow, this is really fun. And then I think on my 6th birthday, I got a Game Boy Advance for Christmas, and then I saved up a bunch of money for a GameCube.
Okay.
And I had like a really fun time with those. Like I got a lot of games for the GameCube, and because that was like the first system I really just like worked hard to buy.
Okay.
And then as I grew older, like I was going through like tough times and like in middle school, early high school, stuff like that, and really like kind of used gaming as kind of an escape for stuff like that. And it got to the point where I'm like considering like going into the gaming industry for a career. So
Okay.
yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. All right, last but not least.
Yeah, so I think my first experience in video games was probably just like when I was a kid, my dad bought one of the little Atari sticks, and he was like, because that's what he played on when he was a kid, and he was like, hey, we should play like Galaga and stuff, so
Okay.
I used to do that, and then I don't remember, I think one of my cousins had like a gaming system at their house, and we'd go over there and play, and then one Christmas, my parents bought my brother and I a Nintendo 64, and we played that thing like crazy. Like I played tons of games on there, and just liked it a lot. I mean, they limited the amount of time I could play with it, which is hilarious. But so I played it basically as much as I was allowed, and then I ended up getting a Game Boy at one point so I could play. The main thing for me was that I had a bunch of like friends and cousins that would play games as well. I didn't play that much, maybe like an hour a day or something. I don't know, but it was just neat to kind of correspond with them and be like, hey, where are you at right now in this game? And they're like, oh, I'm here, and then give advice or whatever. And it's really fun to just like the social aspect of it.
Okay.
And then when I got a little bit older, we ended up getting a PS2, which is basically in the same era. Just played a bunch of games, had a cousin with PS2. And then I ended up buying myself a PlayStation 3 in, I don't remember, quite a while ago.
Okay.
Played that a lot, and that's whenever I first started playing online games, like first-person shooters and whatnot. And I really liked the competitive aspect and the fact that I could play with my friends online and like talk to them online. But that was the main thing for me, is I really just enjoyed playing with friends. That was really neat, because if I had any other friends with the gaming system, I could talk to them while playing, which I had a lot of fun with. Which then led me to, and I ended up building a PC and played a lot of games on there, mostly real-time strategy games. I ended up switching over to real-time strategy because I realized that I like the competitive aspect of games a lot more than, not real-time strategy, but some real-time strategy, more so than like an action-based game or a storytelling game. I like the competitive aspect, and that right now the real-time strategy and like MOBA type games are just dominating that field, so I kind of moved into that. That's basically it for me.
Okay. So when you say online games, can you clarify that a little bit for people like me who don't really know?
So MMO, like massively multiplayer online. So there's like a player base, a community of people that play, and you can play over the dumbed down way of saying is like over the internet. So like I can
Okay.
connect and play with other people when I'm at home and they're at home. You can play and talk.
So not
online.
physically together?
No, not
Okay,
physically together.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I used to play physically together, and then whenever I figured out it was so easy to play online, I was like, this is the best thing ever, because I don't have to like get my friends to come over to my house to
Okay.
play. I can just play from home.
So kind of going off of that, how would you say the online games revolutionized your experience with video games?
It was a huge change because you used to go over to your friend's house and play a bunch of games and stuff, and
Make an evening of it.
yeah, you would literally spend the whole day just playing games with them, the same game basically. And once that came around, you could do it from your house with a bunch of other people, just talk to them. And it became just a social norm. At first it sounded like you were really rich or fancy or something. At first, like, oh, you're
Okay.
on the internet. Where now it's just like, if you don't have Wi-Fi, what the hell are you doing?
Okay, so do you guys have anything to add on that?
I think it made a big difference in how much, like how frequently video games were played, because with multiplayer being a thing and with multiplayer being so readily available, like a game is dynamic. So whenever you have opponents that can do different things that aren't just programmed into the game it can like change every game. If that makes sense. So if I'm playing like Zelda or something, Ocarina of Time, like if I'm playing that, it's the same game over and over because it's just I'm a character, it's programmed, and so once you beat it once, some people won't like it enough to play it a bunch of times. But an online game makes it so every single time I play, I have different opponents. So it definitely opens that field up, and I think it just changes the amount that people play a whole lot.
I was gonna say, it makes a lot of games a lot more competitive.
Yeah.
So like he said that he liked the competitiveness of online games and stuff. When I really got into RTSs and stuff, I started playing online when I was 10, and I played, Warcraft 3 or something like that. That was a long time ago. And I got into the top 1,000 of the North American boards, and it was just sitting there and playing and beating other people or losing to them because they tried something different that I wasn't used to, and like learning that you could control and do all these things, and it made it much more of a dynamic game. Like he said, you could play Ocarina of Time, you could play it through, you get used to player paths, you get used to like the enemies, they all have the same like, hey, I'm gonna sit here and wait, and then I'll block, and then he'll swing at you, and that's when you can hit him. And it's like, that's pretty straightforward, very repetitive. But when you're playing online, you have somebody who did something completely different than out of the norm, and you have to like think about that. How do you play around that? How do you go to the next step? So that's kind of the thing that's going on now with League of Legends? What is it, Udyr buying Runic Echoes? That was, it was completely out of the norm. You don't usually get that on a tanky character, and then he would have bought a complete AP item. So it's like, you get used to it. Like,
Less than that.
It's kind of like if you walk outside and you decide to like shoot a basketball at a hoop. It's fun for a while, but then you just sit sitting there shooting basketball at a hoop. It's a lot more fun to like have other people in the mix that do something like that actually are dynamic, so you aren't just
that's a great
the
analogy.
same muscle memory over and over. It just gets boring eventually.
Plus, more games are becoming more relied on online features where you actually have to have other people play with online to get to things.
Okay.
Which is entirely what the MOBA stamp is set on right now.
Yep.
Everybody has to be online, you have to like play.
Yep.
Like a lot of games are doing that now. So, like back then, you couldn't really do that because technology. But now, like you're even seeing like Nintendo use online features, and they're honestly not known for using online features. Like, just for an example, like I wanted to get a few friends to play like Smash over the
Okay.
Wii, and they're like, yeah, let's use it over the internet. Like, the Wi-Fi for the Wii is just awful. So,
Okay.
like they kind of fixed that now. Like, and they're making games that are just like strictly multiplayer. So.
Yeah, it's also bringing around like older games are actually coming back because of multiplayer online with like emulators. So for example, I play Super Smash Bros. Melee with an emulator on my computer. There's like tons of people that play it online, so you can actually play with other people Melee online, which is crazy. But like because that's like everybody's thinking what? Because Melee was the game that you would go over and play at your friend's house for like 8 hours, and everybody quit because everybody's playing online. But now they have emulators that work like really well for that kind of stuff.
So, looking back, do you guys see the shift to online as something that unified you guys as friends and players that you were playing with, or was it something that disunified? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it'd be kind of both,
Okay.
because if you had someone else who could play online, then you'd play with them. But if you didn't have internet or anything, you couldn't play with them. So you really couldn't. You were kind of limited in what you could do versus people who had the internet to use.
I think now that everybody plays online pretty much, I think it's definitely a unifying thing. But yeah, in that transitional period, I think
It ostracized a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it kind of segregated the community,
Mhm.
like half the community's not playing online, half the community's playing online. It took a while for, but now
So-
everybody.
Especially
What was
with
the
like the
reason?
subscription bases for like the
Yep.
consoles and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what pissed me off.
when the new consoles came out, that like PlayStation 2 and Xbox could play online, but it was like really annoying to get them to
Okay.
work online in comparison to the newer consoles, Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. But they were expensive, so it
So
took a
that
long
was the
time for
line
lots
to
of
kind
people to
of-
pick up the
Yeah.
console.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think when PlayStation 3 came out, it was like $500.
Yeah, no, it was, yeah, like, I think it was like 550, and I think we got
I
it
would've
like a
liked
year and a
2
half
years,
after,
yeah.
and it was still like $375.
Yeah.
It was cheaper than it was for the 360.
Yeah, it was, 360 was a lot cheaper.
Plus,
but
you didn't have
it's-
to pay for the internet
Yeah.
Well,
service.
what did happen was it did segregate the console community, where now there's PlayStation players and there's Xbox players, and they don't have there's only a few games that actually have multi-console, like,
Oh.
platforming, so you can play on either platform with your friends on the other platform, so that did create a divide there that is really hard to,
Even like big
Bridge,
name
yeah.
brand games now, like Call of Duty and things like that, still don't have like cross-platform,
Yep.
things
Yeah.
like that. There's still that divide, even though there's going on.
My cousin's got an Xbox and I have a PlayStation, the same cousins that I played Nintendo with, and I like never played with them after that, unless they came over to my house.
Unless you had a PC.
And
Yeah,
I got
and
a
then
PC.
PC's
Yeah,
kind
I got
of,
a PC. so
That's
really
way
never-
some thing because it's so expensive depending on what you
but
want.
it's like at the same time that it's more of like a unifying trait.
Yeah.
As soon as like everybody's gotten older and the consoles have started to fade, everybody's starting to buy computers and started to realize the online capabilities.
Yep.
That the processing power.
Yeah, and like you can have like gorgeous graphics on these.
It's also it's multifaceted. Like you can use it for multiple things. You don't just use your PC for gaming. You can use it for whatever,
Yeah.
school,
Yeah.
work, or whatever you need. Web browsing, watching your Netflix if you're into that.
Or it could be Xbox and try to be a cable box.
I mean, plus games online are relatively like cheap now.
Okay.
So, like I know League's free, Dota's free, like most Dota games are free.
Yeah, like there isn't an upfront cost to just go ahead and try the game, so,
Yeah.
yeah. And honestly, that helps with their subscription base. They have like a lot of continual players, and then,
Popular prices, but
Yeah.
big time. Say, hey, you should try out this game. And like, how much does it cost? It's free. Okay, I'm trying.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it goes.
So that was a good
Dialogue.
incentive for you
Mhm.
guys?
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
like
I don't think I would have
when-
started trying the if it wasn't.
yeah, I think, what was it, when I found out that there was a league club here at K-State, I was like, oh, I played that every once in a while, I haven't like, and then I showed up and I see like there's this huge culture that's built around it and everything, like, yeah, it was interesting, so, I think that's how most of us met, so.
Oh, interesting. So what was your initial experience with Riot Games? I know we touched on it a little bit, but maybe who introduced you and what made you kind of fall in love with it?
Yeah,
These guys did.
Okay.
Last year when I moved in Jardine, I just like barely heard of it. I didn't really play, but they slowly beat me into it.
How did you guys meet
In a
then?
good way.
we met Jared through,
Jardine.
yeah, Jardine Housing, so,
Okay.
Just a
like they
random.
grouped us randomly.
Yeah.
So, it was like, what is it, like Wednesdays and Fridays, we have like club meetings or whatever. So like I would show up and I would show up with like a couple other people, Michael included, and then, yeah, he would tag along and just realize how many people were playing, and then has slowly gotten into it, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyone else want to add to that?
I started playing League and like I guess was familiarized with Riot Games. My brother played a long time ago,
Okay.
and then he quit. And one day I was sitting there, it was the middle of summer, and I just sitting there, I was like, I'm so bored. I was like, what should I do? And then I don't know, I saw like an ad, I think, or something, and clicked on it, or maybe I don't remember. And then I downloaded it and started playing it, and played it since. So, just kind of ran through.
Yeah, my experience with it is since I was a RTS gamer, I played a lot of Dota when it came out. Dota was kind of the precursor to League of Legends and then Dota 2, and yeah, it was originally just this mod for Warcraft 3, and then somebody turned it into a real game, and then, I'm trying to think what's his name, the person who owns Riot Games right now.
Brandon Beck?
Is it?
Yeah,
Is he the one who was part of the development team, or I honestly can't remember.
Yeah.
But they branched off and they made League of Legends, so I thought I'd give it a try. So I was part of like one of the initial betas and stuff, and played it for a long time, and then disappeared from it because it wasn't what I wanted it to be anymore. Because it was such a different game from the original Dota and stuff like that. There's a lot of playing around skill that had to do with just being able to one-shot somebody, and it was that learning curve got me away from the game because of it. So
Yeah. League became a lot less, for lack of a better term, like calculation based and a lot more mechanically based. So it had more to do with your reaction time and like being like responding to what's happening on the screen rather than like making the correct decision.
and
So
if you had like crap internet or something like that, that you couldn't play at the same skill as everybody else.
Yeah,
So-
because they would dodge something and you'd be sitting there with bad internet trying to dodge. So,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just want to add on to like something else you said earlier. Like every MOBA has their like little niche or whatever.
Okay.
So like Dota was like the original, like then League was like basically at the time easier version of Dota, and then you had like Heroes of the Storm, which is like more team oriented. It's like a more like team oriented game, and then Smite, which is like third person, like a third person camera.
Oh, I see.
different perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of transition a little bit more. What would you say to a peer looking to become a rioter, or what did they say to you when you kind of first introduced to it? Like, what persuaded you, I guess.
It's a fun game and it's free.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
They kind of, I was a little bit iffy on it at first, but when I kind of watched them for little bits and stuff, it looked fun and all, but when I started playing it, it seemed really complicated and a little bit overwhelming at first.
Okay.
It seemed more like it was a lot more math kind of learning stuff, like you have to know all the stats, all of the things, but after a little bit it just seemed normal.
It's like
Not
spewing
even-
out numbers
Yeah.
at you at all
Just a
the
bunch
time.
of numbers at first.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think for me, how I've gotten a few friends into it is just by saying, look at your other friends who were playing it, and they probably started playing it because it was free. So now
Yeah.
that there's a big enough player base, you can normally refer and say, do you know anybody that plays League of Legends? And they're like, yeah, I know people. And I'm like, you should try it, it's free. And I'm like, okay, sure. That's how I've gotten some friends to play.
For me, it's like there were only like 3 people in school playing at the time. It was like the second year it was made, and they're trying to get people to play with them. And I was like, okay, sure. Like I didn't like the game at first, and I actually left my first game. So, and like I just didn't touch it for about a week, and then like there was another. We were friends I had online after meeting like from another game, and they were like, "Yo, you should play with us." And I'm like, "Okay." And then like I actually liked it after that. But then after that, like I introduced a few people to League from school. One of them was like a huge mistake I felt, and then another. Then like a few more.
Is
They
that Joe?
actually liked it. Yes.
You don't mind me asking, why was this a mistake?
He dropped out.
Okay. All right, it's funny. He got addicted.
Okay.
He got a League addiction. He like skipped class. He stayed up till like 3 every day
That
playing
was
League.
his roommate freshman year. That was not
So you felt
enjoyable.
very in love with it.
Yeah, like
Okay.
and like during finals, he played like 7 hours of like Monday and finals week.
Okay.
And like I just
Instead of
got
studying.
on because I just got done with the final. I'm like, man, I just need a break.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit? The break aspect?
No, I just need a break from like studying.
Okay.
Really, like I just use games as an escape for like
Okay.
stuff that stresses me out. So
And then you're playing League, and then it's still stressful.
What would your reaction be if Riot Games introduced a new game or a new version of the game?
Like the transition from like Dota 1 to Dota 2, like they made a League of Legends 2.
Yes.
Okay.
I think they announced they'll never make a League of Legends 2.
It did. However, if Riot made another game, like a different type of game, I would definitely try Riot. No matter, like almost no matter what, just because League's my favorite game, and so even if I try it and I hate it, I'm like, I want to try it.
Yeah, like if they made like a trading card game or something simple like that, yeah, they'd have a huge player base immediately right off the bat. Hey, we want beta codes, we'll try, like, you know, like,
Yeah.
yeah, and it just,
I tried to do this for free.
yeah,
I
and
didn't want to
Really
pay
good
for
job.
something like that.
And
Yeah, but it's-
judging based on like how they've done with League of Legends, I would want to try it.
what is it, Blitzcrank's Poro Roundup?
I don't know what that is.
It's
It's
a-
a mobile
an app.
game that they made.
So
And I
it's not
think
on the right
it went
game.
from being completely unknown, they announced it on Twitter,
There we
and
Like,
within a week became the top seller on, what is it, Android Market,
And the App Store.
App
Yeah.
Store. So, yeah, that was within 1 week. It was ridiculous.
now people can finally stop calling them Riot Game.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's,
That was good. So we've kind of already talked about this, but I want to get some more information on how you think Riot Games really stands out compared to other games that may be in the same category and may be for free as well. So.
they do kind of listen to what some of the problems are with their game, and they will try to tweak it, fix it. It never really is fully fixed. Like, there's always some new problem after they fix one problem.
Can you give me an example? maybe?
Sandbox mode.
Well, I mean, like, there'd be like a champion who would be really overpowered or too strong that normal people, it'd take like a lot of effort to try to kill or something. And
And
they try to bump it down, but as they're bumping that down, some other character gets bumped up. So in that same sense, they have to do that to the same person. It's always going up or
Yeah,
down or something.
it's the week or the bi-weekly like nerfs and patch that they have. So every 2 weeks they release a patch for the game, fix problems, nerfs, buffs, stuff like that. But other games, like I'm going to use Dota as a reference, they have their patches every 2 weeks for League. It's 2 to 3 months for Dota. So like
Okay.
if somebody is really strong in Dota, you have to wait 2 to 3 months for it to be a shit. So
Yeah, Riot's very on top of their game. Like they also, I think, listen to their community more than lots of video game developers do. Lots of video game developers, rather than listening to people that play the game all day, they have their testers decide what is going on. But the thing is, League has like a very, like so many games played that they have like really good information on what's happening, like on the like the macro side of things. So like a certain champion overpowered or not, like they can look and see the information over all the games. The other thing Riot does a really good job of is they release lots of data to the community so that you can look up stats and things. Whereas lots of other games have like are way worse in that regard. Like they don't release statistics on like a per match basis and stuff. So League's really cool because you can be like, hey, check out, I can see all my matches from like the last I don't know how many months, and like I can see all my statistics for like since like 3 years ago on stuff, which is really neat and some people really enjoy it. Whereas I don't think Dota does that.
Dota has a version of that, like, but all like outside sources are self-reported. So like that's the
Yeah.
difference. Like League of Legends works with like its community base
Yeah,
to
Riot
report stuff like that.
Whereas like Dota,
Like you can go to na.op.gg and
Yeah.
like and you'll just have all your information like you said.
Yeah.
But like if I went online for something for Dota,
it would have to be self-reported.
it would have to be
Like
self-reported.
you would have to.
So what do you mean by self-reported?
I would have to
Do it
connect
yourself.
up every 2 or 3 weeks to get my information to download to
So
the
kind of
site.
upload your,
Yeah.
okay, and you guys see that as a hassle?
I mean, for me, yeah, that's kind of a
Yeah, I
hassle.
think it's a really big hassle. Like League makes it very easy
Okay.
to work.
Yeah,
Stuff like
League
that.
is one of those very few companies who works with its community hand in hand with the game. So like I said, I have to self-report when it comes to stuff like that. They just give the information over to places like op.gg, what's some other ones, like,
Locking,
Yeah.
LawNexus uses OpenGG. But the other thing that I really like about like that Riot does is that they rarely have server downtime. Like lots of games nowadays have like scheduled maintenance once a week or something. Whereas, Europe's
Europe.
a different story. But Riot, like at least in North America, rarely like takes their servers down, and they run like really well, like way better than most other games. And I think that's because they just like they have one game that they're working on, and they just focus on that hardcore, and like they keep it running really smooth, honestly.
And if they were gonna do anything, they usually put up an announcement before, within a good amount of
Time in
time.
advance.
Oh, and that you guys appreciate that?
Oh, yeah.
Better than just sitting there and randomly going, when that something's
Okay.
going on, it shouldn't.
All right, so now I would love to have you all pick out one word so that we can come up with 4 words that describe Riot Games. And please, no names. So, yeah. Who wants to, I mean, you guys can each contribute one or we can have a discussion about it, whatever you guys want to do.
Tyranny.
Tyranny? Why would you say that?
Could you repeat the question?
Mine is
Yeah.
that skins.
I would just like to come up with 4 words that you all feel really describes Riot Games as a brand. You guys can throw stuff out there, it doesn't have to be the first 4. You guys can
Cash
just
cow.
What?
Skins.
Cash cow.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Okay.
entire
Dog?
game.
No,
Let's go one by
They make
one.
so much money off skins and all the characters.
Yeah, I was
that
gonna
you
say
wanna buy,
skin.
which you
Skins
do.
is how they make their
And
money.
you,
Skins
and
are-
you
How
purchased
about
RP
adjective?
points.
Yeah,
The skins are actually really
adjectives,
cool.
adjectives.
Exactly, that's how they
I would
make the money.
say, like,
Productive, I guess. I think they're
How
pretty
so?
productive. Yeah, I think they're productive just because of like the way that they go about, like they're very, like for example, the patches every 2 weeks and like the way that they release things and like they do community teasers and whatnot, but they don't waste time. Like lots of other games, you'll see when they patch the game, like when they fix problems with it, they fix really minor things and leave really major things. And League typically like prioritizes properly what it should and shouldn't be fixing. It's the reason why it's been like the same game for how many years now? Like is it
Six, yeah.
year 6 or something since beta, and like it has the largest player base it's had. So it's because they keep it fresh and like they're really productive. in
Okay.
what they do.
Which is why I
That's a good
think
word.
going on the second note where they were gonna have like a sequel or something like that. That's why they'll never have a sequel,
Because they're just gonna,
they're just
stay
gonna
on
keep
top of
working
this.
with it. Like, what is it, how long ago? A year at this point, since they had the new map? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like
They
they
basically
used to
updated it.
have like this old, very dark map where it was just like the 3 lanes and everything, like all the
Yeah.
textures were really old, back from like beta and stuff like that, and then went ahead and just created this whole new map to make it look visually
They did
appealing
this
again.
twice. by the
Yeah,
way.
they've done it.
Twice.
Yeah.
They keep it very, they keep the game really fresh. I would say the way to keep a game, if you're keeping a game fresh for 6 years, I'd say you have to be productive.
Okay.
Like
So
they also,
we-
they
oh,
also
sorry.
do champion updates too. Like for really old champions that don't get a lot of playtime because of like the new champions and new changes and stuff like that. Like they fall out of flavor because their kit, like Riot will just like remake their entire kit, and like they did that for like a bundle of champions a few patches ago, and then like another few, and like they even admitted like one of them was known for being like super overpowered, the Juggernauts. So
Yeah,
like and like not a whole lot of people liked it because like if you're not playing those 4 champions, then
you
you're
lose.
pretty much gonna lose the game. And Riot was like, okay, we're gonna hot fix this like right now, and then they just made a letter. It's like, yeah, that was our bad. We didn't know that. That's
So what's a word we could say to describe their response to that? 'Cause right now we have productive. Do you want to do fresh? I heard that.
Yeah, fresh is good, yeah.
Okay, so we have productive, fresh,
Responsive.
Responsive. Okay.
Cash cow.
That's not even.
Hyphenated.
Let's elaborate on that a little
Hyphenated.
bit.
Hyphenated. It's for one word, yeah, I get.
Riot's only in there for the money. If they make a free game for
You could
us.
say, you could
They
say,
say it's a free game, that's true, but how much money have you spent with purchasing art?
I keep
you could say like
For
successful or
skins,
profitable.
characters.
That's it. That's it.
Profitable is also
Cash
a
cow's
word.
an app.
But
Okay.
cash cow, it's their cash cow.
So
That's the
let's
one thing they're
do-
making all the money off of.
Let's do profitable, fresh, responsive, productive.
Profitable, that's so
Awesome.
much better.
Okay, so moving
Cash
forward.
cow.
I realize it's not what
It's
we're looking
really not a cash cow though.
I mean, it totally is.
So, what do you see as how do you define the relationship of Riot Games and Twitter? Or the Twitter account of Riot Games? Can you just give me a little overview of how you feel about it?
I think they use it for mostly like utility, like they wanna like let people know when patches are gonna happen a little earlier and in a different form than say like having to log in and then find out
They're efficient at getting knowledge out, but
Yeah.
Riot uses social media as like their main outlet for putting out information. Reddit is actually like one of the main places you get information about League,
Yeah.
and like they tweet out the actual official things as well. So if you aren't
plus events.
somebody that uses Reddit, like it's kind of important to look at that because you can see things like patch notes. You can see who's getting like what champions or what parts of the game are getting stronger. So yeah, I would say like. It's mostly for utility. They also put out like community creations and stuff. So
What
like
do you mean by
artistic,
community? Oh, okay.
like people's artistic representations of the game and whatnot, like
Or
drawings.
upcoming
and
events
stuff.
they have.
Yeah, or upcoming events. It's like it's neat. It's a really good way to like stay connected in a different way to the game than just playing.
Yeah, like what is it, a month ago was SummonersCon and stuff like that, so like they've gotten to the point where they can start having like conventions and stuff about the game.
Okay.
And like they wanna have a way of, like an official way of getting everybody
Yeah,
to
they use
know
Twitter.
all the information and stuff, so.
Plus, you have people who work for Riot on Reddit like all the time. So
And then yeah, and Twitter.
yeah, so like people who work for Riot would like post something on Reddit for like, oh, we want feedback on so and so, or they'll comment on like some fan, like something a fan made or something like that.
So you kind of just touched on this actually, but could you explain maybe an experience you've seen with Riot Games interacting with their target audience on Twitter, like an interaction, comment, reply kind of situation?
I think a good one that's very recent has to do with the new character Aurelian Soul. Everybody's been asking about the character for a good 3 or 4 months now, and it's because it's been announced on, what is it, last November, that they were going to make a dragon character or whatever.
No,
Everybody
they
keeps
said Ao Shin was going to be like they
Yeah,
scrapped
Ao
the
Shin,
idea.
that's what they
They
announced.
scrapped the idea.
But
like,
then
a
they
month
but
ago.
then they said that there would still be a dragon champion.
Yeah.
So
That's been hyped for a while.
yeah, so everybody's been excited for that. So that was, I think, like, what was it? They announced it like not too long after. I'm trying to think what the YouTuber's name is.
Well, I don't know, but I know that they'll like tweet out, they'll say something like one of our game developers is like having like an AMA or like an Ask Me Anything, like
Oh, okay.
and then so then they'll link it, and then so if you're on Twitter and you see that, you can ask the game developer something about like a champion or like something that they have slated for the future. They obviously don't answer everything, but
Right.
it can be really interesting and like really neat. And they also take advice from people, which is really neat.
Is there anything you want to add to this one? Okay. Moving on. This next one is based on your own experience. Would you recommend a friend to follow Riot Games on Twitter and why?
If you play League, yes.
Free skin, right?
Yeah, free skin.
They also, yeah, you also get a free unlockable item in the game.
I don't know if they do that
Is
for
that when
Facebook
you
anymore.
follow?
They do that for
or-
Facebook,
They
Like,
do,
send
if you like it on
Twitter.
I don't know if they did that for
Facebook,
Facebook anymore.
They might not for Facebook.
Yeah, I thought they scrapped that.
So that's one reason. They may not. I think they still do it on Twitter. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they also, yeah. I mean, if you play League and you don't check Reddit all the time and you're like a Twitter user, it's like really convenient to follow Riot because then you can see what you need to see just by opening up your Twitter, which you're opening anyways.
Yeah.
I'd say it kind of depends. If you play League, but you don't really want to get constantly informed about the game, like you're not that into it, I wouldn't recommend it. You don't want to get some that you just bought for or playing it and all of a sudden that's all you're seeing.
Yeah.
You're just getting annoyed a bit by it or something.
Yeah, so it's not for like the casual person. Like I could see how that'd be an issue. Like you're not the person who plays every day in and out, so you don't really need to know the instant meta, things like that. Like what is it? The Juggernauts meta was kind of a very short like time frame, but like it changed how the game was played for a while, and it still is. Like,
Yeah,
So-
if you're into the game and you're actively either trying to get better, or if you're if you're just a big fan of the game, then yeah, definitely. But if you just play it every once in a while, probably not.
I
Okay.
mean, it would be a nice thing to know, though.
It's a good, nice thing to know, but it's kind of cluttering if you don't play the
Yeah.
game all the time because you don't really care about all that stuff, I guess.
Okay, so what would you like to see from Riot Games on their Twitter account or see more of regarding their tweets and posts?
Just getting giveaways.
Yeah,
Giveaways,
honestly,
yes.
like giveaways, it sounds kind of funny, but it's like I feel like, yeah, I wish they would do more like have more interactions with fans on Twitter with like something that they get in the game, not just like an interaction outside of the game. I wish that they would link it more to the game, so like giveaways and whatnot. I think that'd be really cool.
And they will announce sales, sometimes, like,
Yeah.
that's about it.
Well, but I mean, like, type in this code, like, they have ads for that on Twitter. It's like, type in this code on this website, you get 25% off. Like, I wish they do stuff like that. But, I mean, that and, I guess I wish they would do more, kind of like the community creation stuff. It's kind of neat. So I wish they'd do a little bit more of that.
And that's, just to refresh my memory, that's like the artist?
Yeah, like
Okay.
somebody paints a certain
Gotcha.
character in a game or whatnot. So if it's really cool, then they'll like post it and like link their account to it.
And it's not just limited to like paintings and stuff like that. They have like community spotlights, like in their actual client and stuff. So
Yeah.
like what was it, the Bromix and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like the song that was based entirely off of a
Sounds
character's
in the- yeah.
sound
Yeah.
lines in the
Okay.
game. So like, there's cool things like that that people do, and they'll go ahead and link that too.
You have a
So-
huge player base, you're bound to have like artistic people and like, I don't know, analytical people and also like they use their skills and apply it and it can be really cool to see.
So does that really, what kind of a sense of a community, I guess, does that create? Do you get, I mean, you voice that you feel like they do listen to their players and all of that, but
It's like-
overall?
It's like a community that's passionate
Okay.
Yeah.
about it.
I was gonna say it's a community that's colorful also,
Yeah.
like what is it, everybody gets, like if you watch competitive LCS and stuff, you just get used to like all the puns and stuff like that because of
Okay.
people who are the colorful people pointing out and
Yeah.
having
So when you
fun.
say colorful, could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
People who have like,
Personality?
yeah, like a personality that brings light to a room, I guess. Like, so like, they're funny, like they're witty, stuff like that, and so.
It's like, there's lots of things like inside jokes and like things that only
Okay.
people in the League community would understand that everybody in the community sort of somewhat understands. And it's like kind of neat whenever you relate to other people on that level, just
Okay.
I know.
playing a game.
I know Svinduin was like a thing for a while that only like the League community would know, but then it like became, oh, everybody doesn't play League now, apparently knows this, I don't know why.
So-
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really the way
Um,
Garrett Demacia.
So this is kind of my last question, but if you could pick an emoji to describe your feelings towards Riot Games, which would it be? And you can,
face.
Gonna
We
look
can-
up some emojis,
we can look,
boys.
we can look at our
Yeah,
phones,
yeah,
go ahead.
Some emojis.
I would love for you guys to pick one,
Alright,
and then
let's
I'll
go.
kind of, just
I'm
kind of
just
say it out
gonna
loud,
shot.
the description of it. so that-
Crocodile.
Why? The crocodile.
Some eyes were nicked too.
There's a crocodile.
There is,
Yeah.
there is indeed.
I play gator golf. So, no, I'm kidding. Let me actually.
Your golf, really? That's what you're going with?
Does anybody else have one right now?
You go like really stereotypical and do the thumbs up.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about that. Why would you pick a thumbs up for your attitude towards Riot Games?
Because overall, I definitely approve, I guess.
Oh,
Like, it's just,
Okay,
I'm like totally in approval of the game and like of the company, so
okay.
I like what they're doing. So just like thumbs up, like keep it going. I
Alright.
guess.
What about you guys?
I'm gonna do a dragon
Okay, could you
Why
elaborate
dragon?
a little bit?
because there's a new dragon champion. I'm excited
Okay,
because he's gonna be awesome.
alright, two left, guys. Who's got a good one?
Please don't do the.
Let's be really
don't
nice
do
about
the
this too.
emoji. Let's not do that.
I'll do the Spock. I'll do the chick emoji because I like birds and there are birds in this game.
Okay, wonderful.
That's-
Alright, last one. Right
Okay,
here.
I chose mine that was relevant, but okay.
It's alright, we can take what we
That's
got.
relevant too.
Let's put
I guess
time
I'll do the
limit.
smiley face thing.
The smile, okay, this one, I'm not gonna do it, but like with the tongue out and it's smiling.
Oh,
Why would
that
you pick
one.
that one?
I don't know, it's just a really enjoyable game.
Okay.
Everybody should send their emojis to
Wonderful.
Rashad.
Okay, got it.
So, do you guys have anything you want to add that you think would be valuable to us? Anything? This is kind of your
Jazz
space.
hands.
No.
Jazz hands.
Okay.
Like a smiley with jazz hands for some reason.
If not, we're kind of done. I am gonna read this little blurb at the end, unless you guys have anything to add. Anybody?
Waffles.
Perfect.
I don't think so.
Okay, awesome. This just reads, in today's focus group discussion, we talked about Twitter, Riot Games, and their relationship in relation to their target audiences and their awareness of those target audiences. Do you have any, no, I already asked that. If you guys have any additional questions about this focus group or our research project, please don't hesitate to contact me at lmmertz@ksu.edu. Thank you again for your participation and your time.
Cool.